Oh man, they canceled school today because it was too cold. It was like negative something this morning. It was just too cold for us to go to school. Probably better get on the Zwift. Hey guys, what's up? Just did about an hour and a half on Zwift and feeling pretty good. While I was on the Zwift, I kept thinking, oh man, I got all kinds of stuff I could talk about to do a barn door cycling blog, and I sat down here and I couldn't remember any of it. It's been a few minutes just trying to remember everything I was going to talk about. And one thing is I was going to tell you a cool tip on these hats. If you ever get like an old cycling cap and you don't really want it anymore, but you want to try to make it something cool out of it, if you cut the top of the cap out, it becomes a really nice sort of headband. It also kind of still acts as a cap, and you can let your hair kind of hang out of it. It looks cool. And I'm getting a lot of hair, by the way. Yeah, this is I think this is maybe the longest hair I've ever had in my life, and I don't have any plans of getting it cut anytime soon. So anyway, or maybe I will, I don't know. So one of the things I want to talk about is my health. And so I think it's been a month or so, I don't know, it's been almost a month. I got a stress test on my heart. So let me explain why I did that, okay? So for many years I've been feeling kind of like some tightness in my left arm whenever I ride, especially at the beginning, and especially on the trainer it seemed to be worse, and I felt like it was slowly getting worse. I felt like I was kind of having a little bit more of this pain, and it was kind of bothering me. So I was talking to people about it, and of course the first thing people say is, you gotta go to the doctor, you gotta go to the doctor, you should go to the doctor, don't fool around. If you got left arm pain, go to the doctor, that's a sign of a heart attack. So finally I give in and I call the doctor. And I'm just going to say right up front here, I do not like dealing with the medical industry. It generally doesn't go very well. I always feel like I spend a lot of money and get nothing out of it most of the time. And so anyway, in this case, we've got pretty good insurance. It wasn't going to kill me to go get this checked out. And I thought maybe I should. So make an appointment. I go, explain to the PA, which I don't really have like a doctor I see. I just went to this PA that was there, and he checks me out, says, it could be a lot of things, can't really say what it is, if it's anything, takes some blood, and he says he wants to set me up with a stress test on my heart. And like, yeah, we're going to get to this real quick. You'll probably be hearing from us on Tuesday. Okay, so this was like on a Friday. And Tuesday comes and goes, I don't hear anything. The next Tuesday comes and goes, I don't hear anything. Later that week, I call and they say, yeah, we're having some issues with your insurance, not wanting to cover it. We'll try again. Another week goes by. So this was back in November. Okay, so I went in late November, and so now it's kind of like mid-December. It's like kind of middle of December. Well, I've called again. I talked to a different person, and she's like, yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Your Medicare is not wanting to cover this. And I said, well, I don't have Medicare. I'm not on Medicare. And she's like, oh, we've got incorrect information for you because it says you have Medicare. And I say, nope. Tell them I have HealthScope. I give them my insurance card when I went, and they say, oh yeah, okay, we've got that here. I see that on file. We're going to try that. Well, about 2 days later, I get a call with an appointment for the heart check, and it's like January, I think it was January 3rd. Yeah, because they had a break for Christmas. They couldn't schedule one through there, January 3rd. So I go over to this clinic. It's Farrell Hospital, actually, where they did it. And so if you've never had a stress test on your heart, let me tell you, it's kind of an intense experience, okay? So I get there, and there's a sonar operator, and she starts doing some sonogram. She's doing some sonograms of my heart, and this is kind of cool because I can actually sit and watch my heart beat on the screen, and it looks kind of like this thing here, and she's taking pictures of it, and this went on for a long time. She took a lot of pictures of my heart, like different angles, different directions, And she's like, okay. Well, when that was finished, a nurse came in and they start wiring me up. They got this big wiring harness, about like 20 wires kind of running into a box. Another nurse comes in, does blood pressure. They say, okay, the cardiologist should be here any minute. They get me up on the treadmill, and I'm standing there, and I'm standing there, and I'm standing there, and after about 10 minutes, they're like, you can sit down. We don't know where the cardiologist is. So I sit down. He should be here. He's seeing a patient. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he's seeing a patient. I bet he's probably out back on his phone or smoking or something. Because this was a cardiologist that just comes to this little podunk hospital from big old Evansville, Indiana. He comes over here like once a month or something to do these tests, or once a week or whatever. So I kind of feel he probably didn't really care a whole lot about it. So he does come in. It's an old man. He says, hey, so you're getting a stress test today? And I said, yeah, I'm standing here with all these wires on me, you know. I mean, obviously that's what I'm here for. Yeah, I'm getting a stress test. Okay, well, who ordered this? And I said, my PA. Oh, okay. I'm like, obviously he hasn't really, you know, cared enough to like look at a file. It's funny, they have you do all this paperwork, they have you fill out all these papers. Nobody ever looks at that crap. It just goes in a folder somewhere. It's just legal nonsense. So he comes in, looks up the screen. We've got the 3 nurses, and let's get him going. So I get up there and start, you know, and of course on this day I'm having no pain in my arm. I'm feeling great. I'm kind of feeling a little bit jacked up because of the, you know, I guess the excitement of doing a stress test. And I've noticed that the more kind of excited I am, the less likely I have this. Like if I'm going to a big bike ride, I'm not going to feel this pain. It's whenever I'm just kind of bored and just training and not really feeling it, then it's usually worse. So I'm pretty psyched, and I get going. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm walking pretty fast. And let's get his heart rate up. And then he walks over to the screen, and he's like, now I wonder why the target was 154. And he goes, I wonder why they picked a heart rate target of 154. And I'm like, you're the freaking cardiologist. Oh, and I forgot, before that, I'd been up there going for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I kind of glanced behind me, and he was sitting there looking at his phone. And, you know, I said, everything okay back there? Which I'm not normally that kind of guy, but, you know, this guy, he makes probably 4 times, 5 times more than I make per year, and he's back there dicking around on his phone, and it ticks me off, you know. So I was a smart aleck, and I said, hey, is everything go? He goes, yeah, things are fine back here, you just keep going. I'm like, all right, buddy. So I'm going on the treadmill, and eventually, you know, he says, let's crank it up, and he gets me up there. I think my heart rate hit 160. Then they have you lay down back on the table, and this was the wild part. You're not supposed to be breathing. So you just did a heart rate of 160, and then you're supposed to lay on the table and not breathe. That was tricky. That was pretty intense, because I'm like, you know, and she's trying to take pictures of my heart, because if you're breathing and your chest is flexing a lot, they have a hard time getting the pictures. So I'm laying there, she gets the pictures. Okay, 30 seconds later, he's standing there and he goes, your heart's fine, man. Or sir, or something, you know. He's like, your heart's fine, there's not a problem with your heart's fine. And he shows me some pictures. He goes, this is your left ventricle, this is your right aorta, everything's fine, this is beating, this is doing, this is, yeah, your heart's in great shape, sir, no problem, see ya. I mean, like, okay. So yeah, my heart's fine. I knew my heart was fine. I hit 180 heart rate the other day. I regularly hit 170 on my trainer. I mean, I know my heart's fine. This was all stupid to begin with. So why am I having left arm pain? That's the question. I don't know. So I assumed, you know, I would get a call back or something. That was a month ago. Nobody's ever called me back, and honestly, I just haven't cared enough to call them back. I guess I need to call them back and say, what stupid test do we run now to find out what's not wrong with me? So yeah, I just haven't done it, you know, and my heart's fine. At least I know that now. I mean, I knew it before, but I'm definitely not going to mention it anymore after this, whatever's causing it. I've noticed that if I kind of warm up, do about a 10-15 minute kind of maybe 120, 130, 150 watt warm up, kind of ramp my heart rate up slowly, it definitely isn't as bad. And I've also noticed the harder I push, the more it goes away. It's weird, you think it'd be the opposite, but when I start really pushing hard, the pressure and the pain go away. I don't know what it is. At this point, it's just kind of a mild annoyance in my life. So, yeah, Hey, this is Matt with Barn Door Cycling. I think I'm finished with this blog, and I will talk to you again one day.